So, hello everyone, a pleasant day to all. And so, for today, we're going to be tackling about the diet and renal disease. I am Rabani Vasquez, and my co-reporters are Jason Suan and Ruby de la Peña. First things first, the diet pertains to the food relating to nutrition, and the renal disease. These are the diseases that primarily affect the kidneys, right? Then, the objectives. After studying this chapter, you should be able to describe in terms the works of the kidneys, discuss common cause of renal disease, explain why protein is restricted for renal clients, explain why sodium and water are sometimes restricted for renal clients, explain why potassium and phosphorus are sometimes restricted for renal clients. So the kidneys are intricate and efficient processing systems that excrete wastes, maintain volume and composition of body fluids, and secrete certain hormones. To accomplish these tasks, they filter the blood, cleansing it of waste products, and recycle other usable substances so that the necessary constituents of the body are constantly available. So the kidneys, as we all know, it filters out the waste products and it cleanses our blood and it separates the waste products to the essential product of the body. Then the usable substances are the biomolecules, the amino acids, the glucose, the minerals, vitamins, and water. Then to layman's, it is a strainer kanang mura siya okay, iyang saanan ang mga waste products so that the body will be free of kanang infection or other diseases. Then it is what the structure of the internal kidney. This one, the unfiltered blood in through the renal artery. Then after it is cleansed and filtered, it will be passing into the renal vein to the body na po. Then the excreted products, the wastes via ureter, also in the form of urine. Then this is the anatomy of the kidney. Then this is the enlarged photo of this portion. There's an arrow and each kidney contains approximately 1 million working parts called nephrons. Each nephron contains a filtering unit called a glomerulus, in which there is a cluster of specialized capillaries. Capillaries connects the veins and arteries. Then the nephrons contains the glomerulus, in which this is the filtering unit of the kidneys. Then approximately 180 liters of ultrafiltrate is processed each day. As the filtrate passes through the nephrons, it is concentrated or diluted to meet the body's needs. So, by the way of concentrating and diluting the filtrate, the kidneys help maintain both composition and the volume of the body fluids, which is one of the major functions of the kidneys. And consequently, they maintain the fluid balance, the acid-base balance, and the electrolyte balance. Then, the liquid waste excreted is approximately 1.5 liters of urine per day sent via two tubes called ureters. Out of 180, there is only 1.5 liters of waste product in the form of urine. Imagine, dagan kayo. So, dapat i-excrete na sa imong body. Then waste materials include end products of protein metabolism, the urea, uric acid, creatinine, ammonia, and sulfates, excess water and nutrients, the adrenal cells, and toxic substances. The end products of protein metabolism should be excreted because once it will accumulate in the body, it is harmful. The blood urine nitrogen once if it increases, therefore that the kidneys or the liver have been damaged rather. Then there is also a condition, oliguria, in which there is a decreased output of urine to less than 50 millimeters per day. Then, when the kidneys are unable to adequately eliminate nitrogenous waste, then products of protein metabolism, this can result to renal failure. Then, also the uric acid, once if it is not excreted in the body, it can cause harmful effect or may result kana gout. Are you familiar with gout? It is commonly found kanang mga tiil nga kanang something nga muburot gani. Then recycled materials are absorbed by the blood. Mano yung gimension kanina. Amino acids, glucose, minerals, vitamins, and water. Then also the kidney excrete some hormones. The hormones it secretes are the vitamin D and the erythropoietin. The vitamin D in the blood is not active, thus the kidney stimulates and reactivate it to promote the absorption of calcium and the metabolism of phosphorus. Then also the erythropoietin, in which stimulates bone marrow to reproduce red blood cells. Then etiology of renal disease. Kidney disorders can be initially caused by infection, degenerative changes, diabetes mellitus, high blood pressure cysts, renal stones, or trauma from surgery, burns, or poisons. When these conditions are severe, renal failure may develop. It might be acute or chronic. Also, holding your pee can cause urinary tract infection, and by that, it can increase your risk of having kidney diseases. Acute renal failure, or ARF, occurs suddenly and may last a few days or a few weeks, but if the acute renal failure may present, preventive measures should be taken so that it can no longer advance to a more complex situation. Classification of renal disease. The chronic kidney disease develops slowly, causing the number of functioning nephrons to diminish. I have a story to tell the eye that way back when I was in junior high school, grade 11, specifically, I had a classmate that was diagnosed of SLE, systemic lupus erythematosus. Then, she didn't anticipate that disease kay kinsa ba naman mukuan. It is an autoimmune then. At first, she thought that the indication into her face, kanang the butterfly rash, she thought that it was just a result of the mosquito bite. But then later on, kanang mas severe si thus kapacheck up si then, it was discovered late. Then, hilig rabag po sa og aning-anhing kuan mga parat mo tong ilimit is yung mga parat. Then iyang kidney is naka-failure na, then auto dialysis si aning-anhing. Then earlier this year namatay si kay kuan mong gi-admit naman to si then murag late naman siya na-discover kay hilig mo siya parat football, which is not good. Og when I contraindicate one of the contraindications, then mauto. Sadly, she died. Then uremia is a condition in which protein waste that should normally have been excreted are instead circulating in the blood. This is a condition resulting from when the products of protein metabolism is not completely excreted into the body, katong uric acid, the urea, and etc. Symptoms include nausea, headache, convulsions, and coma. Then the nephritis is a broad term referring to the inflammatory disease of the kidneys. Then, from the word nephritis, pertains to the kidneys. It is an inflammation of the working parts called the nephrons. So, nephrons is similarly what composed of the kidneys. The glomerulonephritis is a specific condition, and there is an inflammation affecting the capillaries in the glomeruli. The glomeruli is the filtering unit of the kidneys. Then, this is what an nephritis look like. Then this is the glomerulonephritis, an inflammation in the filtering unit of the kidneys, which is the glomeruli. Then the nephrosclerosis is the hardening of renal arteries. It is caused by arteriosclerosis and hypertension. Once there is a hardening of renal arteries, there will be a chance that, di ba ganyan na akong ipakita sa slide nga, ang renal arteries mo sadyang nagdasi sa unfiltered blood. Thus, if there's a hardening or a blockage, there will be a chance that those blood will not be filtered out or mag-circulate paghapon sa blood ang mga and products of metabolism that must be excreted into the body. That can cause pod sa katong ganina nga condition, which is uremia. Then polycystic kidney disease is a relatively rare hereditary disease. Cyst forms and press on the kidneys. Renal failure may develop near the age of 50. It will develop at the age of 50 and it is hereditary. There will be a picture later on. Then, nephrolithiasis is a condition in which stones developed in the kidneys. Or to layman's, it is the kidney stones. But there are people nga maingon nga naa si Joy sakit kidney. No, that must be corrected because we all have kidneys. Kidney stones tali which is agijang pasabot kidney stones. So mo nang dapat i-avoid na nga kuan og dapat na ma-corrected kaya dapat kidney stones. Then the symptoms include the hematuria, which is there is a presence of blood in the urine. This is what a nephrolithiasis looks like. This one. This ay stone nga na-form dito sa kidney. Then, the polycystic kidney disease, cyst forms sa part sa kidney. More sa mata sa mga aliens in movies. Then, that would be the end of my slide, and the continuation for this part will be discussed by my co-reporters. The by Jesus Suan and Ruby de la Peña. Then that would be all. Thank you for listening.
Good day everyone. I am Ruben de la Peña and I'm going to discuss about the special considerations for clients with renal diseases. First, we tackle about the dietary treatment of renal disease. Dietary treatment is intended to slow the buildup of waste in the bloodstream and control symptoms of fluid retention, hyperkalemia, nausea, and vomiting. The goal here is to reduce the amount of excretory work demanded of the kidneys while helping them maintain fluid, acid base, and electrolyte balance. It is essential that renal clients receive sufficient calories like 25 to 50 calories per kilogram of body weight unless they are overweight. Next is dialysis. Dialysis is done by either hemodialysis or peritoneal dialysis. Hemodialysis requires permanent access to the bloodstream through a fistula. Fistulas are unusual openings between two organs. They are often created near the wrist and connect an artery and a vein. The most common form of hemodialysis is done 3 times a week for approximately 3 to 5 hours. Hemodialysis is cleansing the blood of waste by circulating the blood through a machine that contains tubing of semi-permeable membranes. Peritoneal dialysis. Peritoneal dialysis uses peritoneal cavity as a semi-permeable membrane and is less efficient than hemodialysis. Treatments usually last about 10 to 12 hours a day, 3 times a week. Some clients also use continuous ambulatory peritoneal dialysis, or CAPD. The dialysis fluid is exchanged 4 or 5 times daily, making this a 24-hour treatment. Clients on CAPD have more normal lifestyle than do clients on either hemodialysis or peritoneal dialysis. Some complications associated with CAPD include peritonitis, hypotension, and weight gain. So what is peritoneal dialysis? Peritoneal dialysis is a removal of waste products from the blood by injecting the flushing solution into the abdomen and using the client's peritoneum as a semi-permeable membrane. Diet during dialysis. Dialysis clients may need additional protein, but the amount must be controlled to prevent the accumulation of protein waste between treatments. A client on hemodialysis requires 1 to 1.2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight to make up for losses during dialysis, but a client on peritoneal dialysis will require 1.2 to 1.5 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. The protein needs for clients on CAPD are 1.2 grams per kilogram of body weight. Potassium is usually restricted for dialysis clients. Healthy people ingest from 2,000 to 6,000 mg per day. End-stage renal disease further reduces intake allowed to 1,500 to 2,500 mg a day. The physician will prescribe the milligrams of potassium needed by the client. As Table 19.1 lists, low, medium, and high potassium fruits and vegetables. The ability of the kidney to handle sodium and water in end-stage renal disease must be assessed often. Milk is normally restricted to one half cup a day because it is high in potassium and high in methionine, an essential amino acid. Sodium and fluid needs may increase with perspiration, vomiting, fever, and diarrhea. The fluid content of foods other than liquids is not counted in fluid restriction.
To continue our topic, I am Josephine Suan and we are now at table 19.1, the potassium content of selected fruits and vegetables. So for the first row, we have here the low potassium, less than 150 milligram per serving, and in the middle we have here the medium potassium, 150 to 250 milligram per serving, and for the last row, we have here the high potassium over 250 milligram per serving. So for the low potassium, we have here the berries, blackberries, blueberries, and so on. And for the medium potassium, we have here the apple juice and many more. And for the high potassium also, we have here the avocado, banana, dried fruits, and mangoes, and so on. So next, we have here the diet after kidney transplant. So first, we should know the definitions of the kidney transplant or the renal transplantation. So it is the surgical implantation of a human kidney from a compatible donor in a recipient. So we have here the picture of a kidney transplantation. So kailangan ang donor o ang recipient dapat compatible sila para ma-perform ang kidney transplant. Next, after kidney transplant, there may be a need for extra protein or for the restriction of protein. Carbohydrates and sodium may be restricted. So the appropriate amount of these nutrients will depend largely on the medication given at the time. So addition calcium and phosphorus may be necessary if there was a substantial bone loss before the transplant. So there may be an increase in appetite after transplant. Fats and carbohydrates may be limited to prevent excessive weight gain. Next, dietary treatment of renal stone. So the cause of renal stone have not been confirmed. Treatment of them may be vary. Large amount of fluid, at least half of it, water are helpful in diluting the urine, as is a well-balanced diet. Once the stone have been analyzed, specific diet modification may be indicated. So we have here the types of renal stone. Okay, first we have calcium oxalate stone. This is the most common stone, almost 80%. So the cause by super saturations of urine with calcium and oxalate. So avoid foods high in oxalate such as beer, wheat, and many more. So next, uric acid stone. You have here 5 to 10%. The cause by excessive dietary purine or gout. And avoid purine source such as meat, grains, and red wine. So we have here the table of purine-rich food. Next, the cystine stone. So this stone from in people with a hereditary disorder called cystinuria that cause the kidney to excrete too much of a specific amino acid. We have here the struvite stone or the triple phosphate stone caused by urea splitting bacteria, Proteus and Pseudomonas, Klebsiella, and Staphylococcus. more common ni siya sa mga bae kaysa mga laki because of UTI struvite stone. So next, the consideration from healthcare professionals. So the clients with renal disease has a a lifelong challenge. So healthcare professional can extremely helpful if he or she can develop a trusting relationship with the client. So such as a relationship nga ma-establish sa usa ka nurse by listening to the client's complaint, needs, kanang concern, and responding with sincere understanding and sympathy. So this appropriate approach can help motivate the clients to learn how to manage their nutritional requirements and help the dietitian assess them. Okay, next. So we are now at the summary of our topic. The kidney rid the body of waste. It maintains fluid, electrolytes, and acid-base balance, and secret hormones. When they are damaged by disease or injury, the entire body is affected. So diet therapy for renal disorder can be extremely complex because of the multiphase nature of the kidney functions. Untreated severe kidney diseases can result in death unless dialysis or kidney transplant is undertaken. So that's all, and thank you for listening. God bless everyone.